Bradley E. Schaefer, on the other hand, pointed out that the eclipse would not have been visible during daylight hours. Humphreys and Whittington speculated that the reference in the Luke Gospel to a solar eclipse must have been the result of a scribe wrongly amending the text, a claim historian David Heneage describes as indefensible. So now let me go to how long is a lunar eclipse? Okay, this is a lunar eclipse. And a lunar eclipse occurs when there's a full moon, which is 2 weeks into a month, half of the month. Okay? It said new moons are the only time solar eclipses occur. So we know it wasn't a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse always occurs 2 weeks after or 2 weeks before a total lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipses can last for a maximum of 3 hours and 40 minutes, with the period of totality lasting for as long as 1 hour and 40 minutes. So it had to be, if this thing naturally occurred, it had to be during a full moon, which was 2 weeks into that month. All right?
They're comical. Ezekiel 28:3. It says, "Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee." All right, so I'm gonna read that again in Matthew 27. There's a couple of accounts of it. This is Matthew 27 and 45, straight to the point. "Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour." You know, and this was during the Passover, which is mid-month. The Passover comes in the 14th day at evening into the 15th day, pretty much, you know. So that's the middle of the month. You know, they notice, but they're gonna say that the new moon, which is the beginning of the month, is a full moon, which the full moon is the middle of the month. That's when the light is, because the moon is a light, you know. And the light is it goes through different phases throughout the month. Now, if you're at home and you have a light and you have a light dimmer, you know, you can put it at the brightest setting, or you can put it down halfway, or you can put it down very low. The light looks dark in the room, but it's still light. It's still lit. It's just a different dimness. You know, that's the same thing with the moon. It goes through different phases. All right. So now let's go to matter of fact, let me go back to Genesis. Genesis, the 1st chapter. I'll read 14 again. It says, "And the power said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, lights to divide this day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And the powers made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also." So the moon is also a light. It's just that at certain times of the year, it's less bright than at others. You know, in the middle of the month is when it's at its brightest, because the whole thing is lit. Then it goes through a series of phases, from a crescent to a half moon, you know, 3rd quarter, all the way, you know, till it becomes the new moon again. All right. Now this is in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus 43:6. It says, "He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of time." So the moon is what was set up to establish times, because when you go back to the beginning, before the moon was even created, it said, "And the evening and the morning were the first day." So you had the evening that was the beginning of the next day, or the beginning of a day. So that's why when the Lord created the moon, that was the standard set to set a time, you know. And like Apostle brought out a few times already, you know, they didn't have a separate calendar, You know, Moses didn't have the Egyptian calendar and the Julian calendar, and they were pinned with a thumbtack on different trees and vines. You know, they just kept their particular lunar calendar. You know, not with no, like today, you're trying to fit the lunar calendar in the Gregorian/Julian calendar or Julian/Gregorian calendar. It's not going to work, because every year that goes by, Esau's calendar is 11 days longer than our calendar. So every year our calendar falls back 11 days. So in a period of 3 years, our calendar falls back a whole month, because you're trying to fit the Israelites' calendar inside of Esau's calendar. It's not going to work like that. So there has to be adjustments. That's why the very first scripture we read was that we're rehearsing the righteous acts. You know?
Plus the foundation of the earth is out of course. We read that last night when we had that live show.
But that doesn't necessarily change the moon or the sun or the heavenly bodies. You know? That's why we gotta go by what they call a lunar calendar, which that's what the military uses. They go by a lunar calendar. The Navy has their own lunar calendar. It's just that they put this. They had the Gregorian calendar. Now they're going by the. They went by the Julian calendar. Now they're going by the Gregorian calendar, and they're putting up their own. That's what that means.
And then they had.
But the bodies of heaven up there hasn't changed.
No,
it's Esau that changed shit.
Yeah,
they give you this wall calendar.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Friday night, the Sabbath.
Yeah, and then we read about last night how they skipped the 11 days. They went from what was it, the second?
Well, they teach that there's 365 days a year, and then you got a leap year.
Yeah.
You mean we're gonna have leap years in the kingdom?
So everything is off, man.
There's not 365 days in a year.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, a moon cycle or a month is equal from month to month. It's 29.53 days. Who said something now?
They're just looking for attention like a bitch, you know.
He ain't get a drink. I just
disgruntled girl, disgruntled little girls looking for attention. That's it, man.
Okay, we get rid of this guy. Get rid of this guy. Wait a minute. Just stealing. Okay. I'm gonna read the scripture right. This is Ecclesiasticus 43 verse 6. It says he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world, right? Now, so that's the ultimate calendar is the moon itself, right? But then you got another calendar for the weeks, right? No, weeks are within moons. It says 7. From the moon is a sign of feast. Like, for example, let's deal with the Passover. The Passover comes in, you have the new moon when the moon is dark. 14 days at evening is the Passover. That's the second stage of the moon, which is the full moon. All right, it says from the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. What does it mean? That's why when I did the video, I used the analogy of a banana. If you go to the store and buy a bunch of bananas, when you bring them home, do you eat them as soon as you get them? No, you got to let them ripen. You got to let it come to its perfection. And I use that as an analogy. When somebody, if you got a guy that's a man that's 6'4", and he's a certain weight, he's like 25 years old, they call that a man in his prime. That means he's in his perfection. But he had a starting point. He started as a little infant. Infant meaning little one, all right?
Then he came to a stripling, which is a man that's just coming into, to being a man.
That's right. He's not a full-grown man. So 7 verse again, from the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. So what does that mean? When you have a full moon, that means you see the light emanating from the moon. As the days goes by, a week goes by, it's less than a full moon. Another week go by, what is it? That's the fourth quarter when the moon is you just see a crescent. And then when the new moon comes in, that's when you see pretty much nothing. And then 2 weeks later, you see a full moon again. So that's what that means. It says from the new moon is the sign of feast, a light, meaning its brightness, that decreases in her perfection. So when she does she keep decreasing? That means the moon would have disappeared. We would have never, what's the moon? What the hell is a moon? I don't see no light. What?
I typed in something online. Moonconnection.com.
Uh-oh.
It says the moon cycle. And it says, we give the parts of the moon cycle different names according to how the moon appears to us in order of appearance. New, also called the dark moon, not visible. That's the new, the very first one. Waxen crescent. Then first quarter, commonly called a half moon. Waxen gibbous. Then full moon. We can see the entire illuminated portion of the moon. Then, right. And
that's the 14, 15 day of the month.
Right. Then you have waning gibbous. Then third quarter, another half moon, but the illuminated part is opposite of the first quarter. Waning crescent, new, back to the beginning. New.
That must be an Edomite.
Yeah, new, back to the beginning.
Okay, now you got some more?
Yeah, it says the complete lunar cycle, new moon to new moon, is also called lunation,
which is a 29.53 days long to go through its cycle. Not 30 days 1 month, 31 days the other month, leap month, 28 days,
It says, during this time, the moon will completely circle the earth. That's the scientific definition, but you can take any phase. For instance, so-called full moon cycle would be from full moon to full moon. Right, which full moon to full moon would be the 14th day at evening, which is the 15th day, to the following month, the 14th day at evening,
right.
Which is the 15th
it comes around
day.
Once a month.
Yeah.
2 weeks into the moon cycle. Okay, it says in the 8th verse, the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing. And Apostle Gabar just read that. Increasing, that's why I said Esau didn't change the stars and the moon and the sun. They're in their order. It says the month or the moon is called after her name. What does the word month mean? It comes from the word moon. Increasing wonderfully in her changing. What does it mean increasing? That when it goes to the new moon stage, it increases. You see more of the light. You see the half moon. You see the waning crescent. Then you see the full moon. Then you go back to 7, the 7th verse. From the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. When does the moon start to decrease? Huh? It decreases two weeks into the month, in the middle of the month, around the 15th of the month.
I just remembered, right? Because we used to use that in England and the islands, the term fortnight. Now I looked up, the Spirit told me to look up fortnight. A fortnight is a unit of time equal to 14 days, 2 weeks. The word derives from the Old English, because I remember that from England and the islands, a fortnight, meaning 14 nights. Now it says down here under astronomy, in astronomy, a fortnight is half a synodic moon. A synodic month.
Which is a moon.
Right.
It's a moon.
Right. The mean time between a full moon and a new moon and vice versa. This is equal to 14.77 days. So fortnight goes into, that describes the time between a new moon and a full moon, a fortnight.
So 14.77
days.
and 14 plus 7